Break up this welfare birthday party. You people don't belong here. The words slice through the warm park air like a blade right before Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell storms in, boots pounding, rage already loaded. Without warning, she slams her hands into the birthday table, flipping it with a violent crack. Marcus's Spider-Man cake, the masterpiece his dad stayed up until 3 a.m. decorating, sails, spins, and detonates against the concrete in a burst of red and blue frosting. Plates shatter, juice spills like blood. Little wrapped presents roll across the pavement, helpless. Mitchell doesn't stop. She grinds her heel into a gift box, crushing the toy inside with a sickening crunch. Taxpayer money, she sneers. Blown on this while real families struggle. Kids burst into tears. Mothers throw their arms around them, trying to shield what pieces of the day are left. Fathers step forward, not to fight, but to bear witness as she kicks over chairs, tears down streamers, rips balloons free like she's gutting the joy out of the air itself. In less than 10 seconds, the birthday party that took weeks of planning becomes an eruption of ruin. Frosting smeared like wounds, decorations hanging like torn flags. The laughter ripped out of the afternoon so fast it leaves the world ringing. And through the chaos, Marcus sits frozen, watching the happiest day of his young life get murdered in front of him. They always tell you to film the good days, birthdays, first steps, family moments. But nobody ever tells you to record the moment your child learns the world sees him as less, the moment innocence cracks, the moment a celebration turns into a crime scene of dignity. And if you'd been standing in Druid Hill Park that morning, you would have seen it happen in real time. A quiet father, a joyful 8-year-old in a storm disguised as a badge. The kind of story you don't forget, because the tables don't just turn, they flip. But let's rewind to the moment the sky was still blue. James Thompson worked in silence, the kind of man whose presence whispered instead of shouted. Slim, soft-spoken, always thinking 5 moves ahead. People mistook him for timid. He let them. Power is quieter when nobody suspects you're carrying it. He'd spent the early hours tying red and blue streamers between oak branches, the kind that swayed like gentle flags in the summer wind. Marcus, his son, bounced around him in a Spider-Man t-shirt 2 sizes too big, humming some offbeat superhero tune only kids could invent. Stacks of presents sat under the picnic pavilion. His wife's homemade jollof warmed in aluminum trays. Neighbors were bringing coolers. Kids were kicking soccer balls across the grass. It was the first time in months James felt peace. No earpieces, no coded messages, no shadows to chase, just family, just joy, just his boy turning 8. Then the cruisers rolled in, dark navy, chrome grille glowing like a predator, doors slamming in harsh, synchronized rhythm. 3 officers, 1 lieutenant with a jaw clenched tight enough to crack bone. James barely had time to adjust a streamer before she marched toward them. "Hey!" Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell barked, voice sharp as broken glass. "Break this up. You people don't belong here." The laughter died. The music stalled. Kids froze mid-run. James turned slowly, calm expression in place, the serenity he always wore like armor. "Ma'am," he said softly, "this is a public park. We reserved this pavilion." Mitchell snorted. "You think I care about your little welfare party?" She grabbed the birthday table and flipped it. Cups flew, napkins scattered. The Spider-Man cake soared in a tragic arc before splattering onto the concrete like a murdered dream. Marcus gasped, the kind of tiny, sharp sound only a child makes when something precious is stolen right out of their world. James's heart cracked, quietly, inwardly, but nothing showed on his face. Mitchell sneered, "Feeding your little crowd on taxpayer money. Pathetic." She kicked over the gift boxes. The thud of crushed toys echoed across the pavilion. Kids started crying. Parents moved instinctively, shielding their little ones. James did nothing. Not out of fear, not out of weakness, but because he'd learned the power of stillness, of letting other people show exactly who they are. Mitchell turned her full attention on him. "You the one responsible for this ghetto circus, boy?" That word hit like acid. Parents gasped. Marcus covered his ears, tears streaking across his cheeks. James stood motionless, hands by his sides, jaw relaxed, eyes unreadable. Inside, the volcano simmered. Outside, he was cool water. Mitchell stepped closer, expecting him to crack. But quiet storms don't move. They wait. One father from the neighborhood, a tall black man named Aaron, tried stepping forward. "Hey, this is a kid's party. Calm down." Mitchell spun on him so fast he stumbled back. "Shut up before I make this a resisting arrest situation." Her officers unsnapped their holsters just enough to send a message. Aaron backed down. Mothers shielded their children harder. A hush fell like a blanket no one asked for. Marcus tugged on his father's sleeve, voice trembling. "Daddy, they broke my cake." James knelt, wiping the tears from his son's face. "I know, champ," he whispered. "We'll fix everything." His voice didn't rise. His breathing didn't hitch. But something ancient and powerful passed through his eyes. A controlled fury. The kind that doesn't explode. It calculates. Mitchell didn't notice. She never looked into the eyes of people she stepped on. But one of her officers did. A rookie. The only one whose fingers twitched with second thoughts. He whispered, "Lieutenant, maybe we should..." "Shut it," she snapped. Mitchell smirked at James. "You done ruining the park? Or do I need to cuff you in front of your kid?" James stood slowly, calm, measured, silent. He pulled his phone from his pocket. Not fast, not threatening, just deliberate. Mitchell scoffed. "Oh, go ahead and call whoever you want. I run this park." James looked up at her. Finally, and the quiet in his eyes shifted. It wasn't fear. It wasn't anger. It was pity. Mitchell didn't understand why her stomach suddenly tightened. Because she hadn't just disrespected a father. She'd humiliated a man whose authority could erase her entire career with a single sentence. And she was seconds from finding out. James tapped a number labeled only as 01 Direct Line. The rookie officer swallowed hard. Mitchell rolled her eyes. "Who the hell do you think you're calling, huh?" James raised the phone to his ear and whispered the words that were about to detonate the world around her. "Sir, they've compromised me. I need extraction protocol." Mitchell blinked. "Extraction what?" The voice on the other end boomed loud enough for the rookie to hear. "Agent Thompson, are you secure? Units are already en route. Stay put. This ends now." Every officer froze. Mitchell's face drained of color. James didn't move, didn't smirk, didn't gloat. Quiet storms don't brag. They let the thunder speak for them. Black SUVs are already racing toward the park. Careers are about to evaporate. And nobody, not even the audience, knows James Thompson's real title yet. For a full 3 seconds after that voice thundered through James's phone, the entire park was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence. The spine-tightening kind that happens right before a lightning bolt hits the ground. Mothers froze mid-step. Kids clutched their parents. Even the wind seemed to pause, like the world itself leaned closer to listen. Lieutenant Mitchell recovered first, though her voice wobbled like a cracked windshield. What did that call mean?" But James didn't answer her. He didn't need to. The rumble in the distance answered for him. Engines, plural, deep, coordinated, government deep. Mitchell's officers exchanged glances, worried, confused, sweating. The rookie whispered, "Lieutenant, that sounded like a federal call. We need to step back." Mitchell clenched her teeth so tightly the muscles rippled under her skin. "Don't be stupid," she hissed. "He's bluffing. He's nobody." But the look in James's eyes had changed. Not angry, not smug, just tired. The look of a man who's seen too many lies dressed in uniforms. He lowered the phone and said simply, "Take your officers and stand down." Mitchell barked out a short, cracked laugh. "Me? Stand down? You must not know who..." She didn't finish, because the SUVs rolled in then. 3 of them. Black, armored, government-plated, engines growling like mechanical wolves circling prey. Doors swung open in perfect, terrifying synchronization. Men and women in dark, tactical uniforms stepped out. Not local police, not state police, not anything Mitchell had authority over. These were federal. Eagle emblems, encrypted radios, weapons they didn't carry unless the situation was critical. Every parent in the park gasped. Mitchell took a step back. What is this? James finally spoke, voice calm as ever. You should have walked away. The lead agent strode straight toward the pavilion, tall, sharp-featured, purpose in every step. Agent Thompson, he said, nodding with respect that made Mitchell's jaw drop. We got here as fast as we could. Agent. The word echoed across the park like a slap. Mitchell blinked. He's an agent? He told you he was an agent? He never identified himself. James raised a brow, finally allowing a hint of bite into his tone. You never gave me the chance. The lead agent turned slowly toward Mitchell, his expression cooling to Arctic levels. Lieutenant, would you like to explain why you interfered with a federal officer's family event? I didn't know, she stammered. He didn't show ID, he didn't. But you didn't ask, the agent said sharply. You approached with hostility, used slurs, destroyed property, and threatened force in front of minors. Every word hit her like a hammer. Parents nodded behind him, murmuring their agreement. The rookie officer couldn't take it anymore. Sir, Lieutenant Mitchell told us they didn't belong here. She flipped the table. She ordered us to escalate. Mitchell spun on him, eyes blazing. Shut up! You ruined yourself, he whispered. The lead agent turned back to James. Agent Thompson, just say the word. Mitchell's heart stopped. Wait, say the word for what? James looked down at his son first. Little Marcus, cheeks still wet with tears, sniffed softly and buried his face in his father's side. James placed a protective hand on his son's back before finally looking at Mitchell. Lieutenant Mitchell, he said with a voice that felt like a courtroom verdict, you destroyed an 8-year-old's birthday party. You terrorized families, and you abused your authority in front of witnesses. Mitchell swallowed hard. Now, you will face the consequences. The lead agent raised a hand. Officers stepped forward, federal officers, toward Mitchell's squad. Mitchell lifted her hands, stepping backward, voice crumbling. No, please, we can talk about this, right? Right? The lead agent ignored her. Confiscate weapons, detain for misconduct review. Her 2 officers willingly unbelted their holsters and handed them over. But Mitchell struggled. You can't do this. You can't. James spoke softly. You did this. And those 3 words hit harder than any gunshot. Federal officers restrained Mitchell's wrists. Not violently, not cruelly, just firmly, with the exact professionalism she had failed to show. Parents watched silently, some with hands over their mouths. Kids peeked from behind legs. Marcus watched too, wide-eyed, seeing justice walk in with real authority. Mitchell screamed as they led her toward the SUV. All this for a stupid birthday party? James looked down at his son. Your birthday is never stupid, he whispered. Marcus hugged him tighter. A mother near the swings wiped tears. A father muttered, about damn time somebody stood up to them. The rookie officer approached James, eyes lowered. I'm so sorry, sir. I knew she was wrong, but I didn't have the courage to cross her. James placed a steady hand on his shoulder. Then learn from today, he said softly. Power isn't proven by shouting. It's proven by doing what's right. The rookie nodded hard, swallowing tears. As Mitchell was driven away, the lead agent examined the pavilion. We'll get a cleanup team to restore everything. Cake, food, gifts, all replaced. James shook his head gently. No, we'll rebuild it ourselves. That's what families do. But at least let us secure the perimeter, the agent insisted. You're still undercover. Parents froze. Undercover? James nodded once. And compromise here could hurt the operation. Kids stepped closer. Parents exchanged worried glances. What operation? Someone asked. The lead agent sighed. It's classified, but the man you all thought was just a quiet neighbor? He gestured toward James. This man is leading an investigation that's bigger than any of you realize. The crowd murmured. curiosity rising like smoke. James exhaled quietly, knowing this moment was only the beginning. He hadn't wanted today to reveal anything, but fate has a way of exposing truth at the worst possible time. And today, the exposure wasn't the end. It was the crack in the mirror. Something dangerous had just begun. Because if Lieutenant Mitchell's team had found him, then someone else, someone far worse, might be watching too. Subscribe, like, and turn on your notifications to find out what happens next in part 2.